Okay, let's jump it right into it. So 10 past 10 on Thursday, the 16th of May. So just had CPI last night out of the US, and I think most people probably sort of saw the reactions and that. It was pretty interesting actually, sort of as the sort of data dropped in that. So I mean, look, previous was 3.5%. Expectation was 3.4%. Actually, let me just check this. Yeah, expectation was three, but I for some reason had in my mind that it was expectation was to go up a tick. But anyway, 3.5 previous expectation was 3.4%, and it came in as expected on 3.4%. The month on month was 0404, and then actually came in at 03. So, slight tick down in there. So we saw straight off the bat a big jump in sort of like, all sort of risk assets like Aussie just shot up, gold shot up, silver shot up, DXY dumped right down. And then sort of like after, a few minutes, it sort of did same sort of price action if you were watching a couple of days ago. Was it the PPI, I think perhaps? I have a feeling it may have been something else, but I guess it could have been the PPI. Whereas it probably would have been this candle here, yeah. So, and it sort of came down, took out all the sort of lows, and then sort of moved back up to the top side here. Or maybe it was last week. I don't know. I'm getting myself a little bit sort of confused here. Nevertheless, look, the result's still the same. We sort of shot up. If we get down onto a smaller time frame, you'll be able to see this. A good example with Aussie here. So this is the candle where the news dropped. Bang, right up here into this zone that we had marked out. Came back down here. Actually took out the lows. So you could see this as very much, if you were like, not looking at these candles here, because obviously this hadn't happened yet, you're looking at this and it's looking like, oh wow, here's a rejection, that's a good top, it's tried to go up, bang, smack. So in a normal lot of price action, normal sort of surroundings and that, you would expect that because you got a little range, you tried to break out, they smacked it, you come out the bottom side of the range, but they're obviously just doing this sort of move where they're sort of like hit you out here, and then move up here. And I just remember what I was thinking about. It was gold back down, I think around the 30 break. Yep, yeah, this is what I was thinking about. Same price action as we saw last night. So it's very important, sort of like, watch all these data releases and that. Watch the price action around these things because, sometimes these can be very profitable things because same bat here, we had this one shot off, took out the top side, came back down here. This at one stage was a big sort of bearish candle engulfing the breakout candle. Came all the way down here, obviously, boom, and look at the reaction afterwards. Massive moves to the top side, more and more moves to the top side. So let's get back onto Aussie for a second. And yeah, so basically, we saw this sort of pop off on the news, come back down here, and then sort of it shot up here. So I closed pretty much everything I had, gold, silvers, Aussies, like all in this position here. Came back down here. I took a little bit of a stab with these ones here as I moved back down. Same with silver, gold, and Aussie, but I jumped out, pretty quickly over here. I was thinking, look, I mean, I'd had probably one of my best days that I've done. And that was not the time necessarily to sort of maybe, I mean, in hindsight, yeah, it was, but to sort of keep pushing the envelope with it all. So I thought, look, given this big candle here, we were coming back up here. I was just like, nah, look, I've got another little sort of win here. Bang, lock it in, call it a night, enjoy some actual sleep. But I mean, in hindsight, this is what the market's trying to do. Same as I showed you with gold a second ago. They're just stopping people out. They play with you mentally. Like, here's the pop. I sold everything on the pop because that's my style. That's what I do when I trade. Came back down here. I'm thinking, aren't I a genius? Look at me. I sort of I got the top. Came down here. There's a lot of people that are sort of seeing this and they're shorting. They add some extra liquidity. Short the thing here. Put their stops here. That fuels the fire to go up this way here. It's all about the pain trade. How can they sort of squeeze out the most from the market, basically? So yeah, you can see the reaction very strong here, and we've got to sort of look at this now, and we take a step back because Aussie, apart from the fact it's been on an absolute rip, looks like it's coming into what would be almost its fifth leg of this kind of move. Now, this was off the Iran retaliation bomb lows. I love saying that; it makes it sound like a real trader, but that is when it was. And I trade with a good mate, and I was saying to him, that around this period here, sorry, this period here, I was calling cycle lows and cycle highs. So that's sort of with the gold, I was shorting from 24.10. Aussie, I was buying in this wick down here. I caught a lot of this move, and my soul's in and out, in and out. I'd like to sort of think that you hold it all the way through, but I'll do 50, 60 trades through this period here, so it doesn't really bother me too much. But regardless, well, if you were an Elliott wave person, this is pretty much kind of what I guess you'd be sort of doing. You'd be looking wave one, wave two, wave three, this would be wave four, and now entering into wave five. And as I said the other day, I can't remember what day I did with the video, as I understand it, technically wave three should be your biggest wave, which obviously you can see here wasn't. But wave one should be equal to wave five, if I've got that correct. So that gives you a measured move up 67.80s. Okay, so as I said, I'm not an Elliott wave person. To me, I think the fact that we've broken out, if we jump onto this other Aussie here, it'll show it a little bit better, because this is the one that we've been sort of watching, this big zone through here, whereas you can see how many times this has been knocked down, and this is what I've been saying in the last couple of videos. You've got to see how far these ones have been knocked down, and then we were looking at how far it had happened this time. This is the change. You know what I mean? Sellers had absolutely decimated Aussie from this zone. This time, not so much. This time, even less. This time, one little last shake, and then bang, up to the top side there. So my feeling here, as this little arrow sort of dictates in that, is that we will come up into this zone over here, 67, 67.20, 67.30 is probably sort of, around that zone there. We did have a lot of chop here. Now, this was an area in which it's nice. I've had a very good month. Probably the best month ever, actually. But flip side of it is through this period here, I was away on holiday. We just had this big run up on Aussie, came back down here. I got stopped out for a bunch here, added a whole heap of weight here. I was like, yep, it's a plausible trade. Come back up over to the top over here. And Aussie, bang. And I took my worst losses ever through this period. Anyway, regardless, we're coming back up into this zone now. So this was a very big chop area. So this was sort of like, I have to sort of see how long this was. Put this into, actually, screw that, we won't do this one, we will do this. Let's measure it out a bit more. I mean, if you take it there, bulk of it's there. So this was on 4 hours, put it onto a daily. That's 12 days of chop through this zone over here. A lot of back and forth where the market was thinking, can we sort of push it back up? Can we push it back down? What are we going to do? Now, the fact that we've come out of this range here, I think has definitely got some weight behind it. This was a big chop area. So typically you will sort of see, a little bit of the same of sort of people sort of chopping and that sort of through here. So you'd expect some sort of like similar price action over this side as well. Hence this sort of little move here. And we've got to see how deep this comes. Excuse me, it could come all the way back down here. It could just do very similar to it all, which was quite a tight range, as you see, 0.8%. So 53 points, it was stuck in this little range for, 12 days. So, that's probably most likely what we're going to see similar of. In saying that, though, we have to look at sort of other times that it has blown up and really run a little bit harder, and that was particularly sort of last year. So these last little bits through here where we sort of like resistance, broke through, stuff through, and, it ran hard. It ran a couple of 100 points. Up through there. Actually, no, the part that I'm actually referring to is this part here. So this was last year back in July. And as you can see, this obviously isn't nearly as big a sort of zone or area as we had basically through the bulk of this year. But if you look at this period here, here's your resistance. Let me just make this like this. Here's your resistance here. It's held down, held down, held down. And when it went bang, it went bang. This was such an amazing move. I remember this. I was at my partner's art exhibition coming through this period here. And it was 200 points in 2 days. This is always a possibility. You know what I mean? You've got all this pent up shorting that is sort of like, it's not even just the people that have got short here and have got the top. You know, anybody that's short through this period here would be having their stops around these areas here. Like, that's the thing, is sort of like, they'd be sort of absolutely sweating at the moment, because you got to think about it. It's sort of like, all year we've been here. So since going back to January, it's May now. So 4 months we've been sort of pent up trying to do this. It got these people down the bottom down here. Now, if you go back and have a look at a couple of my videos, these are the areas, if we put it on the weekly, these are the areas we looked at. And remember, this is potentially the right shoulder. And as this was happening, this is on a weekly chart now. As this was happening, I was saying, look, this is potentially our right shoulder. Look what Aussie has done in the past. It's had support, support, broken it, shot back up and stopped everyone out. Support, 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 support. Down here, closed out here, shot back up, stopped everyone out. And what's it done through here? Exactly the same. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. We're just trying to sort of look at sort of what's happened in the past, see how these people like to react with it all, and then act accordingly. So realistically, RSI on the weekly, it's got room to move. The 67, 20, 30, you can see that this is a little bit of a zone here. So there's a good chance, as I said, I think that we may see some sort of profit taking through here. But if you look at this as a like actual weekly thing here, we've got a very well-defined possible neckline here. We've got a shoulder, we've got a head, we've got another shoulder. So you match the distance between the neckline and the head, and that's your measured move breakout. Hence up over here. Let's put this on here, let's turn it to price target. Because as I said, when I wrote this, I can't remember, I have to look back, it was obviously down here. I, at one stage when I was trading through this period here, Aussie had been absolutely beaten down, come from sort of 68s down to below 63 down to this point here. It was a nice little wedge. And I said, look, two measured moves. I had one, around here, and then one up the top over here. And I called this my pie in the sky measured move. Like I said, I didn't really believe it was going to get there. I mean, the technicals pointed there, but I was just like, oh, I don't know, is it actually going to do it? And it did. It flew up here and hit that one. So these things are possible. It's not to sort of say that we aren't. If you watch what do I do, I'm very much on sort of a dollar bearish, US dollar bearish. So I do think that we have potential. We've got the cards set up for a big move. I mean, this isn't going to go here tomorrow. I mean, obviously, this is going to be a very heavy area to get through 69 cents. But just like what I just said 2 seconds ago with the stops that are above this little range that we've been in all day, think about the stops that would be up around here. Anybody that's short through any of this period here, well, you've got a technical, you've got a lower high through here. So a higher low. Could potentially be setting up for something like this, which will give us a bit of a channel. Not to sort of say that this will come all the way back down. If it comes back down here, I think you'd call this pretty much a failed head and shoulders. But, so I'll get rid of this just for now. But the point is, if you break above this area here, you've got a higher low, you'll then have a higher high. On a technical basis, it's trending up. You don't want to be short while it's moving like that. So people will have a lot of sort of stops and that set around this area. So if you get above 69, 70 is easy to cut. 70 is obviously the big number. But these things are definitely doable. So anyway, again, that's a bit of forethought. Back to the here and now. We're seeing Aussie broke beautifully yesterday. Had a bit of a triangle, as you can see, set up on this chart here. This little bit of a triangle, and I was saying, look, we either get the breakout, it could also melt down this way. This one, bang, obviously not the cards. This is the little one path that we're looking for here. So I would say sort of probably another sort of 20 points at least in this move before we see a little bit of profit taking coming in. I will flip across to DXY in a moment because I'm just having a look on this other chart over here. We're coming down almost into our price target there. So I've been calling 104 all week for the last couple of weeks for DXY. We're just on the cusp of this now, so I'll flip across to DXY so we can have a quick look. And here we go, bang! What a trade! So this is the thing. I mean, all the hallmarks are there. As I said, it's this is why we sort of call it day in day out. This big trend line was the one that they wanted to hold. You had a couple of things as we were going through here. It's quite a scrappy chart in that now, obviously, but I'll clean it up a little bit so we can see a bit better. Let's get rid of this. And you can see 61%. Oof. So for gold, let's put it onto the daily actually. Gold, sorry, DXY. All these late nights. You watched my video yesterday. This is what we predicted, the big yellow candle. There it is. That is exactly as we said it would be. So that's very much clapping hats off to myself for that one. So a couple of things here. We had the flag. It attempted to break out to the top side, so that obviously didn't work. NFP broke it down here. This is the area where we were really like, okay, this is confirming that we're up, because this was pretty much just a consolidation grind area. Yes, a little bit lower, but it had that little push up here, smacked on the head. NFP got it down under this main trend. This move here was the telling move because we broke the trend, we broke the horizontal, we broke the flag. You've got three technical setups that it really would have loved to have held to sort of launch off higher, and it didn't. It sort of obviously just came down here, broke the thing. We had the last couple of moves, the last couple of days, and this is what I was saying. This is a back test. So we broke back test of underside of this horizontal, back test of underside of this rising support, and now bang, subsequent lower low. And this is exactly as we sort of said it would happen. So moving right down into first price target down here along this 104, so 104.17 now. You break underneath here, well, these are the kind of things that we're going to be looking at for Aussie to get major breakouts as well. So I'd expect a little bit of a pushback here because you can see, I mean, again, it's the same sort of thing. You got buyers here, you got buyers here, you got buyers here, you got sellers here. I mean, if we chop it, if we bring this all the way back through here, this is where we're expecting to see some sort of buying through this area here. But if we drag this all the way through here, you can see how many times this lines up with pretty pivotal kind of areas. I mean, they tried to push it over this area over here. They tried to hold it up over here. They chopped and changed around here. They tried to hold it. They tried to get above it. They couldn't. How many times have we marked out this area here? So again, this is why price target's here, because I feel that's a good sort of breakdown area where people are going to go, okay, yep, maybe we can do a little bit more here. Let's get this one, drag this across. But the thing is, it gives us a line, for it to break. You know what I mean? It's if I expect a little bit of a push up from here, this kind of sort of thing. But once we push up here, we've already done our back test. As I said last night, we did a sort of little back test of this. We get down onto the lower time frame. Have a look at this one as it broke. Broke, back test, news, back test, and then bang, down, 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 down. I mean, you got to be pretty gutsy to be saying, hey, let's buy US dollar right now. I mean, inflation's come down. I've been saying the last couple of sessions and that you've got two things that are on the Fed's mind: inflation and recession. If inflation is at least stopped, recession's the number one. Like that's the thing. It's they may not be at their 2% target, but if they've got rates at the level that they've got them right now, inflation's not moving up, well, they don't need to add to that side of things. They don't need to add to higher rates to stop inflation. Inflation stopped at the level that the rates are at. That puts it more in the cards of, okay, let's tackle the idea of what will happen with a recession. And with a recession, you need to stimulate the economy. How do you do it? You give them money, basically, in that. You make it cheaper for people to borrow. People will borrow, they'll start new companies, they'll start new businesses, they'll employ more people, they'll increase their manufacturing, they'll push up GDP, these kind of things. But, the end result is your currency will depreciate. More money in the system, your economy doesn't grow, by, whatever, 20 billion, 50 billion, just because you print 50 billion more. Otherwise, places like Tanzania or whatever, and that with the $10 trillion notes would be, the richest place in the world. It's the economy is still the same size. Think about it like a pie. You've got four slices in your pie. Okay, now you print an extra bit of money, so you cut some extra slices. Well, now you've got 8 slices. Your pie's still the same size, but each slice is half of what it used to be. This is how this sort of money printing works. your dollar is worth less, your purchasing power is less because there's more supply around in the market. So yeah, that's their sort of number one thing I would say at the moment is, okay, look, inflation's down. Let's tackle the idea that we may see some sort of recession if we don't act. That's my feeling with it all anyway. So we'll see how we go. But back to this, and with the technicals, I go off on a little bit of a tangent here. Yes, I know, but 104 has been the target since we were bang up over here. 105, 150, somewhere over here. I've been targeting this level down here. We see the back test. We see the push down here. Expect some support coming in here. We've seen it. It's a very pivotal point. It has been time and time again. So I'd expect a little bit of profit taking from here. I'd expect a little bit of a rally attempt. But that doesn't mean that it's like going to go through. It just means, if people are sort of closing shorts, that's buying. So it'll push it back up just till people go, oh, cool, I can sell a little bit more. Bang. And the second drive will be the one that we're looking for. So there's always the three parts in this. You'll see the push up, find a resistance, the second shoot down here. This one will determine the strength of the move. You come down here. If you get under here, that's great. We've got a lower low. From there, you'll expect to push back up. From there, push back down, and that's your confirmation through here. So this level through here. So they're the three parts of how you want this trade to play out. You want to see it sort of find some sort of resistance, grab some more liquidity, drive down, make a new low. You want to see that then sort of go, okay, is that really it? Confirm it here, and then bang, that'll be the big one. And once we go through there, well, then we can look down. Where have we seen price react previously? You got a little bit of a minor zone through here, but most likely you're going to be looking, you could probably almost make this a bit chunkier, around here. We can see there was a lot of buying back here. We can see that it obviously, as it sort of dipped down here in March, before this large move up here, that was a big reaction here. So again, if you get the confirmation under here, then you've got a little bit of a zone through here. I wouldn't call it like major or anything. You've got two little zones because this made a little bit of a range, so you've got to respect both of them as an idea. So I would say probably more likely of the two of these, I'll put that as a minor zone, but I would say this kind of area here, 102.60, that'd be an area that I reckon we might sort of be targeting if they get this scenario coming down here. And, look for gold. Gone to 2,500. I've been calling it for a while. Look for sort of spot silver to 3,100. These are the kind of things, these are the scenarios, the correlations you're going to have to look for if you're going to see these sort of moves play out. So this was very much, as we called it yesterday, big yellow candle, bearish candle, whatever color you use, and coming right down to the bottom side. It's been a great trade. I absolutely rocked that one. All right, up until gold. All right, gold's hitting those weekly. If you've been watching these things, we've been saying first target was this one up here, 23.90s. If you look at this one as well, this is why I love this. Isn't this one we got there? Yeah. Look at this pullback here. Look at how great this one is. This is the breakout from when was it? Thursday last week. The back test. We were going over this just before. Goes up to the top, back down here, 61%. Right on the money. Bang. Buyers step in. Fire up over here, coming up to the top side, and here we are breaking through the top over here. So you'd expect probably maybe pushing up around here. We've got obviously some areas of technical resistance here where we've seen sellers come in before. 2,400 is a big round number, so you'd expect this to really be a little bit of a kicking off area for people. So what are we at now? 93. So we've got a little bit of space to move to get up to this one. But as I said, 2 seconds ago, look at where DXY is. Almost at its price target. Look at where gold is. Almost at that 2,400. I mean, there's a good chance that you sort of see these things move together. You see sort of Aussie probably up another couple of 10 points. You see gold probably sort of pushing up to 2,400. And I'd expect to push back from here. I'd expect Aussie to be hitting its resistance. I'd expect DXY to sort of find some buying. I'd expect gold to see some resistance and see some selling. These things this is what I call cross-chart confluence. Coined the phrase myself. Well, not confluence, but the cross-chart confluence I did. So, look, this is, most likely a good area where we see the market go, okay, we've had enough, let's take some profit, let's take a breather. and then they can push back from there. Not always going to happen. It can always sort of shoot all the way through. It could always sort of come back and just keep on coming back. But, given the last bits of news and the sort of change in the landscape of the data that we've just had released, I don't see a reason for people to all of a sudden go, oh, actually, that was last night. This is 12 hours later, so let's change our whole opinion. I just don't think it's going to work like that. I think we're going to see a reasonable push up to these levels here. We're going to see some pushing back. And then again, this is what we're waiting for. We're waiting for, push up to here, push back to here, and then this leg here. This is the one that we determine. Bear with us 1 second. Okay, I'm back. So yes, anyway, this is sort of what we're probably looking for, and that's right, that's all. So in the middle, this leg here is what we're looking for, because this is the leg that's either going to give us a higher high, a lower high, a double top. They're the three outcomes that you look for. So let this one run up as high as it can, or as high as it wants to go, pull back here, let it find its sort of self a little bit of support, and then we sort of see what happens to move through this area here. See if we can sort of get through here. Because the thing again is like, people will be taking profit from here, it'll be moving back down. People will be trying to short from here, they'll be moving it back down. And when they sort of try and sort of short this, what they're going to be doing is they're going to be going, okay, I think I've got the top, bang, here's my stops. That's a stop loss. Oof, that's where they're going to be putting their stops, just above whatever high this is. This could go here. Whatever, it doesn't matter. As high as it goes, it could just come here, and that could be the move. But the point is still the same, that you let this one make its high, let it make its pullback, and that second run is what we determine the strength of this move to be. But given everything happening, we could pass this falling resistance. We're up near this sort of round number. I would say there's probably a good chance that we sort of get a little bit of a poke up to the top side over here in the sort of like coming session and that. Look, I don't see, as I said, gold, I don't give a lot of energy towards for its the amount of movement through Asia. I mean, sometimes we get the big moves. I mean, we had the biggest move going way back whenever it was. It wasn't even here. No, it was way back when we had that last previous high up to 2100 before we sort of shot up into these 22s, 23s, 24s. That was through Asia, and that ran sort of 50, 60 bucks in like 15 minutes or something. I think, I can't remember, maybe even more. But point is that we sort of let this one sort of play out. We'll see how it goes. We look for this continuation move here. If we make a high and then we get a higher high from here, then I'd say it's on with the show, and we're going to be looking at sort of all-time high tests. As I've said a couple of times, 2500 is a potential up over here. I do believe, particularly I've been saying I want to see where this week closes. We've still got 2 sessions left. If we get a close up around here above sort of 2400, 25's on the cards. It's almost a set and forget kind of move, I think, then. And as I said, we see sort of gold come back through here. So DXY, if we see DXY sort of push down towards those 102 areas, 102s above there, that's going to get us up to the 2500 on gold. So again, look at all these charts together. All right, copper. Copper, what an absolute burner. Like, it absolutely flew yesterday. I thought these were the stops, but look at this. Flying up to the top side here. I mean, this is, mark this out as I was showing someone, 10% since that back test of the triangle. This one here that we sort of like, we're calling you through the week. There's your break, back test. And this is a perfect example of what I've been talking about. So this, well, that's your breakout move, but call this, because obviously this is this is what we were looking at, the triangle. This is your breakout candle. There's a little thing going. This is your back test. And obviously it went doof, doof, double back test. This is the area that we go. Okay, so we put the line across the top here, and we say this is your breakout, because this is your breakout candle. This is your back test. This is your confirmation. Broke through here, even did a little back test on the confirmation line, but that's your move there. And this is what I sort of say, sort of like, this is nice to get these moves from down here. Of course, you feel like, wow, I really sort of call it, but if you hold off a little bit, yes, you miss sort of, this portion of the move, but you've got a higher percentage chance of getting this part of the move. You know what I mean? Like that's the full move, 10%. This is the area while you're waiting to sort of determine it. You've got your breakout. Was it a real breakout or was it a fake breakout? Once it puts in a higher high after the breakout candle, this is where you've got a higher probability of continuation. And like I was just showing with gold a second ago, this is what you want to see this one here. You want to see the backtest. So for instance, now in this move here, we had a breakout here, bang, up to the top side here. Now this one becomes our breakout candle. Is this, I mean, look at the sell-off here. That was definitely some profit taking over here. I think this is more stops actually, to tell you the truth. If we look at this on how did it look on a 4 hour? Yeah, look at that sell down, bang. Back up and look, closing above here. Look, I mean, it could definitely still be moving up to the next test of all-time highs, but you want to see it break past that breakout candle. So this is quite a large area here now. We've got body fills here. We've got a lot of area here. So with copper at the moment, with this high sell down and being just after such a mammoth run, you just think there's got to be some cooling off to be coming, and even with sort of DXY sort of moving the way it did last night, copper, would typically sort of keep on moving, but even that couldn't sort of rally all the way back to the highs, even though DXY really dumped down. Excuse me. So I'd be, look, I've been saying I'd be a little bit cautious around this area because it just keeps pumping out new highs. But certainly it's very much setting up market into a risk on sort of attitude at the moment. So I'd wait for sort of like DXY to do its little thing, to do its, as I said, 104 is the target, its little bounce, and then its subsequent push down. And if we can get down underneath 104, moving towards 102, I'd be looking to add to longs on copper to retest these all-time highs, 520s, which, as I said, it's just been such an absolute mammoth run. Really would hate to have been short on this one. All right, and China, where we at? China getting its pull down here. This was the play yesterday. We thought maybe a bit more of a range through here, but as you can see, it just melted down. And again, these are why we have these zones marked out. We've seen how many times the buyers respected this green zone through here. This is why we've got it marked out there. And then we look at sort of what's happened overnight's action. Bang, straight down into it. Reaction, straight came back off, and we're coming down through it again. So let's pull this off here. So this is really a big breakout, retest, come back down, same sort of thing. Obviously this went a little bit further, went up over here, this kind of thing, but generally the pattern is that of the same. You had a large range through here, big meltdown, huge bounce. I think it came up to the 78 or something, this bounce through here. So if we look at this move from down here to here, I mean, you could technically actually probably put this here. And then drag it across. Yeah, like 78. I mean, depends where you call your high. Could be calling it here. You'd say kiss the 78 pretty much spot on, or through here. Regardless, it's a very big bounce. The fact that it sort of made this wick and sort of bounced back up over here, and now it's actually eating it up again. We've seen this happen before, and we've seen this happen with China. I can't remember where to sort of reference it, and it'll take me too long to find it right now. But the point is that was the wick, there's the bounce, and we're still chewing through this. So, there's a good chance you could be looking for a double bottom here. We are pretty oversold. This is on the 4 hour. You take out this wick though, and then we're sort of moving down to 719, low 719s. Expect probably a little bit of a reaction around here, and then sort of 717s after that. Again, these kind of things can sort of really help Aussie kick along. As we know, sort of, it's a very good sort of correlation between the one and the Aussie as well. And obviously with copper ripping, that all sort of lines up with it for the moment. All right, that's about it from me.